Hey, what's up? I'm about to do exercise that I enjoy, but I haven't made a new post in a while, so I thought I would do that before before I went out. I'm in my car right now, about to head out, and I like sinking my teeth into something specific as pertains to baseball or the Yankees or whatever, and it really came to me that Clint Frazier is a really interesting player to talk about right now. Um, 23, putting up great numbers in AAA. Really, the first time he's kind of dominated AAA. I'll just turn my ignition off there. It's the first time he's dominated AAA. I think it's his third go around in AAA, I believe. So the unique thing about Frazier is that on a lot of teams right now, he'd be up in the major leagues. If he was still with the Indians, he'd be up with them had they not gave him up, had they acquired a different reliever. As hard as that is to imagine, based on how intrinsic Miller was to them making that World Series run, but had things played out a little differently, um, and they had acquired a less significant piece to fortify their team at the 2016 trading deadline. Yeah, these are all like interesting things to consider because their outfield depth's kind of been an issue the last couple of years, I'd say. Even when they made the World Series, actually. But anyway, that's a hypothetical. Kind of talking about this from Frazier's standpoint now and the Yankees' standpoint now. He's blocked because they acquired the National League MVP in the offseason. He's also, the Yankees don't view him, I don't think, as a serious option to play center field. To my, fan eye, the sun, ooh. To kind of like my eye as a fan right now, just kind of watching the games and not, just being a guy watching on TV or at the stadium or whatever. I'm not blown away by him as a defender. Something he did last year that irritated me to no end. And there's not a lot of things that get, like, physical mistakes don't bother me, but missing the cutoff, man, which he did consistently, that really bothers me because I feel like there's no excuse for that in the major leagues, and it hurts when you allow a guy to go from second to third, or you that's primarily, or if you throw home when there's no chance to get the runner. So Frazier seemed a little bit like loose in his interpretation of when to hit the cutoff man when I saw him play last year in the outfield. His jumps seem like they're not great. He has like a lot of natural athleticism. He's a great athlete. And his speed as a base runner is really underrated when describing his game. But as an outfielder, yeah, kind of the subtleties of it. First step, making the right throw, which in the limited sample I've seen this year, he's really improved at that, I feel like. It's only been a few innings, obviously, but that hasn't happened in 2018. So, like, I guess what I'm saying is I feel like it makes sense that he's not viewed as a center fielder. I think he can be a credible left fielder and a very good right fielder defensively. So an asset, I think, in right field. I feel like body type-wise, he reminds me of Sheffield a little bit, actually. So I guess maybe that's why I think right field. But I think if he did end up playing right field, that's where he could really shine defensively. There's, it's not, obviously left field, especially in Yankee Stadium, you have more ground to cover. It kind of depends, like, where you're playing. Like Fenway Park, there's still a lot of ground to cover in right field. But I feel like the angles are more complimentary for him. Again, because I feel like his first step, like, isn't the best, but kind of going, like, straight back, where the ball, like, in right field, it kind of cuts. If it's going to cut, it kind of cuts toward the line. Whereas left field, will go more toward the gap, like a hard hit ball. So this is all just kind of speculation and kind of my impressions. But in terms of the fit with the Yankees, like, that's like kind of the instant reaction of a lot of people is, why can't he play center field? And why can't he push Hicks out of center field based on what he's doing in AAA? Which isn't really fair to Hicks either, because Hicks is having a nice year. He's not like an MVP candidate or anything. He's having a very, nice on-base percentage, 350-ish. And holding down center field, switch hitter, great arm. So the reason, like, Frazier's a really interesting guy to talk about, because it's like, what will they do? Like, I don't see him really breaking into the lineup barring an injury this year. Now, next year is really, really interesting, because there's a myriad of things to discuss. It's like, they have an option on Gardner. Gardner's having a typical Gardner season. He got off to a slow start, but any Yankee fan who's been watching Gardner for basically his entire career, and especially, I would say, dating back to even 2014, where he started showing a little more consistent slugging ability, knows that, he's streaky. And, in 2014 particularly, he was having a great year at the bat and really cooled off in the second half. I think kind of a similar thing happened in 2015. This year he got off to a slow start. When he's struggling, he rolls over the ball a lot. And he's just not on time. He's a small dude for a baseball player. For a regular person, he's like, a jet. But like he's smaller, so I think his swing, for him to really impact the ball consistently, and hit those line drive home runs and line drives in the gap and hard hit singles, like, on a consistent basis, everything needs to be together and working mechanically, lower body, not drifting and kind of arming the ball, and only swinging with his arms. But like, after an initial slow start, he's been fantastic. So they have a very affordable option on Gardner on his contract for $11 million. And obviously, why wouldn't you pick that up? So where does that leave Frazier? As long as, nothing happens to Gardner. So like, where does that kind of leave Clint? To get him into the lineup on an everyday basis next year, after he presumably annihilates AAA pitching, which again isn't, it's really good that that's happening, because he hadn't done that to AAA pitching, so it's no small thing to say that he's killing AAA pitching. And this guy's, a viable prospect. There's no doubt about it, with a huge ceiling, 30 home run type of player. So to get him in there every day, the other issue is it's hard to carry him as a fourth outfielder, because you would prefer your fourth outfielder be able to play center field, especially with the lack of depth on major league benches now, because they carry so many pitchers. So it comes to moving Gardner, really, and the affordable option. You're picking up the option, trading him to get Frazier in as your everyday left fielder next year, left fielder / right fielder, and open up those at-bats. So that's like one particular option. The real monkey wrench into everything is the free agent class too, because it doesn't take a rocket scientist or it doesn't take incredible powers of discernment to kind of look at the situation and say, if you're going to move Gardner, which is not an easy thing to do, because he's a beloved Yankee and everything, and all he's done really since he became an everyday player is being an above average hitter who's a phenomenal defender and an excellent base runner. So if you're going to move that excellent player who is great in the clubhouse too and is a leader to open up at-bats for Frazier, why wouldn't you sign Harper, who's a free agent and could hit 50 home runs at Yankee Stadium? So if they're in on Harper, hypothetically, that again kind of leaves Clint without any playing time. So, and there's no way you can sign Harper and find at-bats for Frazier, because then your outfield would be Harper in left, Hicks in center, Judge in right, Stan taking the DH at-bats, and guys floating around the DH spot, which I think would also be really, really good for Harper too, who's had him and Stanton have both have like durability issues throughout their career. So be able to have that floating DH and use them there. So there's like no at bats, and Frazier not being a genuine center fielder is a roadblock for him playing for the Yankees right now this season, and also going forward, unless they don't sign Harper. But that's another like mysterious thing. So like as a trade chip, man, potentially to take the discussion like over there, like the guy has enormous value as a trade chip right now. He is a guy like guys who even aren't dominating AAA. Maybe they've been up already and they've been up and down. Like Didi Gregorius was a guy like that before the Yankees got him. Just for instance, at shortstop, like a guy, he goes up, he goes down. He hasn't found the consistency. He has a hot streak, then his cold streak like lasts too long. You're looking for a finished product, and that can take a while to happen. You know, development is tricky. It can take years. You know, Buxton's a guy like that. I still look at Buxton as a guy who can be like a star level player, but the development has been slow and has been interrupted by injuries. So getting a guy you can plug in, which Buxton would be a guy like that if the Twins ever moved him. You know, there's a ton of value there because you can just put him right. You could like start him in AAA, but like it's really time for him to develop at the major league level. And Frazier, being a guy putting up monster numbers in AAA, and he's looked really, really good in the brief amount of at-bats he's had at the major league level. I was especially impressed by that at-bat he had against Coleman, Luis Coleman in Detroit, who's been pitching awesome for the Tigers this year, and he jumped ahead of Frazier. He's always been tough on right-handed hitters, and he jumped ahead of Frazier 0-2, and Frazier worked a walk. And it was a really, really good at-bat. That really like opened my eyes too. I was like, wow, like, you know, he laid off a couple of tough sliders. He got a 3-2 breaking ball, which has been like the bane of so many hitters this year in the major leagues, and handled it and drew a walk. So if you're a team acquiring Frazier and say you're rebuilding, like how much value is there? You can plug. He's not only a guy you can plug in right away, like Didi was with the Yankees, but he's also a guy with star potential who you can plug in right away. Which is that he's got to be, of all the prospects who could be moved around the deadline this year, he's got to be a guy who maybe has the most value, possibly, really. And I say that as someone who follows prospects and everything like that. But like a guy who could potentially have like be an everyday left or right fielder who can hit 30 home runs and like have like an 850 to 880 OPS. And who knows in his mid to late 20s if he even gets better than that, which would make him MVP candidate. But he has that kind of potential. And not only that, but you don't even have to, a guy with that kind of potential, you don't even have to finish off in AAA and leave him in the minors for a couple of weeks, even after you acquire him. You know, if you're a team like the Giants and you fall out of it, which I don't think they are actually, and I don't think Bumgarner is going to end up on the Yankees, but like, let's say hypothetically you are the Giants and you're getting Clint Frazier. Think about what you're getting. You're getting a guy who can slide right into the outfield and trade McCutchen too, if you're out of it, which again, I don't think they're going to be, but just spitballing that. So Frazier, I think, has a ton of trade value. I don't know where this dude's going to end up. I really can't predict how the pitching market's gonna develop and the trade market's gonna develop. It's really vague right now, I would say. Who knows who the Yankees might be after? They should put Tanaka on the DL today, which sucks. Probably miss a month. So something could develop quickly. But I don't see Frazier being moved unless it's a premium guy. And it's a complicated situation with Harper and the other free agents in the offseason. Gut call, do I think Frazier is going to be an everyday player for the Yankees? I do, because I don't see Bumgarner being available. I don't see Corbin being available. Those are the kind of guys he'd be moved for. I think if they hold on to him the rest of this year, I'm running out of time. he's going to be their everyday left fielder next season. Take it easy. Thanks.